America. We are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. At Grand Canyon University, we believe in equal opportunity, and the American dream starts with purpose. To serve others in ways that promote human flourishing and create a ripple effect of transformation for generations to come. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu.
Step into summer with style and ease, thanks to one of our favorite sponsors, Jeannie Kane. I finally found a wardrobe that I'm completely obsessed with. Jeannie Kane is a California brand through and through, and their staples make getting dressed effortless, perfect for my summer aesthetic. Find your new uniform at jeanniekane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code RATCHET at checkout. That's 15% off your first order. JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code RATCHET. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about. Embrace your summer aesthetic with Jeannie Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and those who don't identify as either, you are listening to Ratchet and Respectable. I swear, today feels like a Friday. It's only Tuesday. It's Tuesday at 2:51 p.m. I've been up since 5:30 this morning. I had a braid appointment. They came to my house. I think actually I prefer going to the shop though. You can show up with old braids, they'll take them out. You can show up with dirty hair, they'll just wash it. But I had to go find the hair or fiber as they call it here, and it just wasn't as easy as it should have been. My hair came out cute. I like it. I've been watching really good TV. I don't talk about BMF all the time. I was incensed with the most recent episode, the season finale. Incensed. I was so mad. The B plot of BMF has been Lucille and Charles are the parents of the two main drug dealers, Terry and Demetrius. Charles ain't shit. He was all right for a while, then he cheated with the neighbor, and Lucille, for obvious reasons, felt the way about it. One of Lucille's exes pops up. He's a well-accomplished man. He's a doctor. He's good looking. He wines and dines her. He tells her he wants to be with her. He wants to build a life with her. He comes through in a clutch for her. He writes big checks for her. Like the church was raising money for something or another. He wrote a check for 10 G's in the 80s. 10 G's is a cute donation now. It's a mega donation for the 80s. That might have been more than Lucille's whole annual salary when she was working at Wendy's. Lucille was like, I feel like I'm being pulled in so many directions. Like, I don't know what to do. He said, Lucille, I'm a patient man. I will wait for you. I've loved you since I was a boy. Like, he was all in. You know, that lady went and divorced her husband. She left him literally the same day. She signed the divorce papers. She leaves the house. She goes over to Dr. Maurice. They finally get it on after all this time, which, by the way, I feel robbed by the writers and director of this show. Every time you see Meech in the strip club, them girls be full butterball booty naked. Like we've seen bare ass and bare titty 50 million times on this show. Whenever possible, they want to make every woman on this show super duper naked. But when Dr. Maurice and Lucille finally get it on, all we get is a little snippet of Dr. Maurice's upper chest and then like a little bit of back. And I was like, if you don't show this man's bare ass, if you don't get me some overhead shot of Dr. Maurice stroking it right, we have waited all season for these two to have the sex. Lucille divorced her husband to have the sex with this man. All we got was like 10 seconds of seduction. We didn't even see them get in the bed. He lifted her up, took her down, and then it was the scene change. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's cable. You couldn't have shown us some ass or even some full frontal like you show with all the girls. Really? No. They finally get it on. They laying in the wet spot afterward. It must have been good because Lucille was like, you know, when God closes one door, he opens another. And Dr. Maurice was like, yeah, about that. Huh? He was like, Lucille, I got to tell you something. Huh? Anything you had to tell this lady that was of significance that would have impacted her decision to leave her husband and not cheat on her husband, but to actually sign divorce papers and sever her marriage and come be over here with you? You should have said that a long time ago, brother. You should have said that on the second or third date at the latest. You gonna wait till the lady signs divorce papers and after you have sex with her to be like, yeah. So I've been engaged for the last 2 years, nigga. If I was watching this on somebody else's laptop, I would have thrown it across the room. I can't break my own good electronics. Sir, sir, nigga, sir, I can't believe you did that shit. You really wasted this lady's time like this. You really sat up here and let her sign divorce papers and did not give her the whole truth so she could make an informed decision about whether or not to be with you. Lucille got up out that bed so fast. The screenshots have been floating all around Instagram. She looks like she's in a horror show. You remember last Halloween, these women did this skit. It went viral. They said it was a woman's version of a haunted house. The women were walking around the house and a man's voice would be like, I'm 5'6", and she would run in another direction. I got 5 baby mamas. I'm broke. That's what Lucille looked like running away from Dr. Maurice. Oh my God. I can't believe the writers wasted our time. Y'all really built up this whole love story, this whole season just to shit on this lady. And people online were so happy. They were like, that's what Lucille get. I was like, Lucille gets for what? They were like, oh, she left her marriage. She should have stayed with her family. With her cheating ass husband? He ain't just cheat with a random. He cheated with somebody that she knew. Like a lady that would come over to her house and talk to her and ask to borrow her pots and shit. Like, Charles is trifling and broke. You guys pick a struggle. You can't be both. People like, oh, well, Lucille was all about the money. Lucille's son's making a day what Dr. Maurice makes in a year. If she was really just about the money, she would take Meech and Terry's money. Yeah. I'm so mad at Dr. Maurice and them damn writers. I will give her credit though, because she went back home and she told her husband or ex-husband, whatever Charles was to her at that time. But she went back home and told Charles things weren't going to work out with Dr. Maurice. And he said, well, do you still want to come on tour with me? He still wanted to work things out. And she was like, no, I really just want to do me, by which she meant become an assistant pastor at her church. And I was like, you know what, girl, I guess. She's like, Jesus is my man. I mean, I want to say it so bad. Oh my God, I want to say it. But my mother made me publicly apologize last time I said it. Lucille is single. Lucille doesn't have a husband. Lucille doesn't have Dr. Maurice. What else she doesn't have is a husband who's cheating on her or a boyfriend who's lying to her. That is a benefit of Jesus being your only man. I watched Dreaming Whilst Black. Whilst? Is that the right word? It's a British show. It got a couple BAFTA awards, I think. It's about a black guy who's an aspiring director. That's all I want to tell you about the actual storyline. I don't want to give it away. But he has a brother, and the brother has a pregnant wife, and then he has a bestie, and then he works at this job that's kind of like, what was the nonprofit that Issa Rae worked for on Insecure? It's like a version of that. Actually, the whole show is like a black male version of Insecure, but set in London. And all the characters are either Jamaican, Ghanaian, or Nigerian. I thought somebody was from Ghana. Actually, I thought the main character was from Ghana for a while, but then he turned out to be Jamaican. There's like a big Jamaican population in Ghana. That's a whole separate conversation. But it's a really, really good show. It's only 6 episodes. They're probably about 40 minutes apiece. I watched literally the whole thing while I was getting my hair braided. It took 5 hours. And this is a testament to how much I really like the characters. I had to keep pausing it because he makes decisions that are really great for the storyline. But because you're invested in the character and you want him to win, I got major secondhand cringe or major secondhand, like, no, 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 or secondhand embarrassment. And I would have to pause it to calm myself down and be like, these are characters. These are not real people. This has no real world consequence. Like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Like, it was bad. I mean, bad in a good way because I was very invested, but it did give me like a very uncomfortable feeling. I don't usually get that invested in the show. Like I had a knot in my stomach at one point over a decision he had to make. Oh, I will add this. The character does this thing a lot, and I think it's a great device for the show. Issa Rae did this in Insecure too. He shows the thing that he wants to do, and then it shows the thing that he did. It's a really interesting device. It happens several times in the first couple episodes. And so when he does like really radical things later on, You're not sure whether to get invested in it because you're not sure if this is the thing he's actually doing or this is the thing that he wants to do. I think that's part of what causes the nervousness. It's a really great device. It was a really great show. It was fun. It was well written. I was totally all in. I told you last week we talked about Whoopi Goldberg had a new book, Bits and Pieces. When I was taking my hair out last night, I started listening to Whoopi's book. I think I only have maybe like an hour and a half to go. Riveting. Whoopi started her career doing and writing her own one woman plays. So she's an excellent storyteller. And she's Whoopi Goldberg. Like she's very quirky. I think she's 69, 70. Like she's lived some life. So she has a lot of story to tell. I would say 75% of her story is absolutely riveting. Just because I've read a lot of memoirs from people who grew up in New York, and I know a bunch of people who grew up in New York, and I lived in New York for damn near 20 years. She gets into the nitty gritty of growing up in New York and going to Coney Island and what it was like to play outside and, going back and forth between Harlem and I think Chelsea, growing up in the projects. And just a lot of the stories that she told, I've just heard versions of them before. So it wasn't fresh for me, but it was well told. It wasn't bad by any means. Her mother and brother both passed, her mother first, and then her brother both passed away unexpectedly about 5 years apart. She doesn't have a relationship with her father, but she was really, really close to her mother and her brother. And the book is more or less all the life lessons that she learned from her mother. And I can just kind of tell by the way she tells the story that she really misses her mom. And her mom has her own WTF stories as well. But it's a really lovely sounds like a really weird word to describe somebody's very imperfect life, but that's the word that sticks in my head. She's had so many ups, absolutely, but she's also had like a lot of downs. She's had some real big traumas in her life, some that were thrust upon her, some that she opted into. She talks about two different times in her life when she was abusing drugs. She talks about hitting rock bottom, doing cocaine. But as the sum total of what she shared, and then also, I guess, like because there are lessons learned from it, and then also the energy in which she shares her story, it's quite lovely. Like, I feel very, what's the word? Thankful, even that she shared her story. There's not really a lot of overlap with my own personal experiences. There's not really a lot that I like personally can relate to, but the lessons that she shares, I think, are relatable to anyone. Also, she never directly says this, but I think it's worth noting. I think because her name is Whoopi Goldberg, I think, which is a Jewish last name, how she got her name is an absolutely insane story. And I'm like, is that all there is? I thought it was much deeper than that. Apparently not. She farted a lot as a kid, hence the name Whoopi. Whoopi Cushion sounds like a fart. And I was like, that's how you got that name? Yes. Goldberg is a family name. Okay. I think because she's had very public associations with white men, I guess famously or infamously, if you will, dated Ted Danson and they went to some event in blackface, or did he have a blackface and she was okay with it? I don't remember. But people have accused her of being a sellout or not relating to black people, not relating to black audiences. Yeah. Whoopi has never ever questioned her blackness. Like she's a dark skinned woman who grew up in New York City. And although she talks about like, how racism in New York wasn't the same way that racism played out like on TV during the civil rights movement, but racism absolutely still existed. Being a black woman in Hollywood, she was constantly made aware that she was black. Like there's never been a point in Whoopi Goldberg's life where she was not very, very aware that she was a black woman, whether it was from her complexion or the choices to wear her hair the way that she did. She talked about once going on a movie set, the hairstylist, a white person, said in front of her, to her, "What am I supposed to do with this shit?" Yeah. There's never been a day in Whoopi Goldberg's life where she has not been aware that she's a black woman. And to listen to her tell her stories, it just sounds laughable even that people would be like, "Oh, she's not really black. She doesn't get black people. She's not down with black people." Like it really sounds insane once you hear the details of her story. I would say that she doesn't limit herself to just blackness. She honestly believes that she can do anything. She honestly believes if it's a good role, whether it was written for a white woman or even for a white man, She believes that she could do the part because she's really a good actress. She doesn't limit herself in that way. But in terms of like, does she know she's black? I never doubted it a day. I told you I've got maybe like an hour and a half to go for the book. Can't wait to finish because so far, so good. I also realized I signed up for Audible. I think I did one of those trials to get like 3 credits and then never canceled it. Remember, I was reading or better listening to that TD Jakes book. I think that's when I signed up, but I didn't realize that I'd been paying for Audible all this time. I have like 12 or 15 credits. So I got Whoopi's book. I got Shawnee's book. Sarah Jakes has a new book. Sarah Jakes Roberts. I was like, I feel like I'm leaving something off of her name. Sarah Jakes Roberts. But she's been doing a lot of interviews to promote her new book. And just in the snippets I've been hearing, I like what I'm hearing from her. And I know Gia Pepper, she has a podcast, Healed Girl podcast. She did a really long interview with her. So I was like, oh, I want to know more. So I bought that book too. There were a couple more that I bought. I can't remember though. We'll get to them at some point. But the Whoopi book, highly recommend. I took notes just in case we ever decided to do a book club. I don't think we'll do a book club for this one. If she says anything compelling in the next hour and a half, I'll come back and talk about it. Looking at my notes. No, there's really interesting stuff. I don't want to give it away. I actually like listening to this book. By far, I prefer to hold a book and flip the pages and scribble in the margins, but this will do. For right now, this works. Step into summer with style and ease, thanks to one of our favorite sponsors, Jeannie Kane. I finally found a wardrobe that I'm completely obsessed with. Jeannie Kane is a California brand through and through, and their staples make getting dressed effortless, perfect for my summer aesthetic. Think minimalist and refined with pieces like luxurious cashmere sweaters and iconic accessories to elevated versions of all your everyday basics. Think minimalist and refined with pieces like luxurious cashmere sweaters and iconic accessories to elevated versions of all your everyday basics. Jeannie Kane has everything you need to embrace your uniform. Not to mention the most incredible home essentials, too. Jeannie Kane is here to help you live your best season yet. And for a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their first order. I get compliments every time I wear a Jeannie Kane sweater, and they're so comfortable, I can live in them all year long. If you need something luxurious to add to your vacation wardrobe, I've been loving the Flynn cashmere sweater because it's so versatile, making it easy to dress up or down, making it the perfect piece to pack in my suitcase. Find your new uniform at jeanniekane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code RATCHET at checkout. That's 15% off your first order. JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code RATCHET. Let getting dressed be one less thing to worry about. Embrace your summer aesthetic with Jeannie Kane. Oh, we have good black news this week. We might just do all. Oh, no, we can't. We can't do all good black news this week. Oh, dear. Mary J. Blige finally is ready to take our money. Folks been asking Mary J. Blige for a shoe line, and not even a shoe line, an over the knee boot line for at least 20 years now. At least 20 years. She has finally decided to answer our call. She has a brand deal with Giuseppe. So far, it's one gold boot. It's about $1,300. It is plastered all over the internet. I've read the shoe sold out like in a day. Is that true? Thank you to the seemingly hundreds of people that have sent me a DM about Mary and her boot. It's very cute. I'm not going to get it. I mean, if it was actually available to get, which it's not, I already have a pair of shiny gold boots that I absolutely love. That boot is redundant for my wardrobe at this time, but I'm looking forward to the boots that are to come. And I'm very happy that Mary is finally ready to take our money. We've been trying to throw boot money at Mary literally for 2 decades. I saw some people were upset because of the cost of the boots. They said Mary had outpriced her core demographic. And I was like, I've been to Mary J. Blige concerts several times. I see folks in there with their Gucci and their Louis Vuitton and their Chanel and their Balenciaga and all of those high-end European brands, of which Giuseppe is. Folks spend good money on shoes, bags, accessories, clothes. Now you want to close your pocketbook because it's Mary? Mary does a very good job at keeping her down to earth, Mary from the block, roundaway girl from Yonkers persona. Mary has been a luxury item for a very long time. I would be very disappointed in her, to be quite honest, if she, after all these years, if she decided to do something, I don't know, like Nine West or Target or something like that. Like, no, she's very much beyond that. And I think it's a testament that her $1,300 boot sold out in a day. That means they could have made a whole bunch more of those boots, or they could have charged a whole lot more. Because I feel like a Giuseppe shoe is going for a good 1,000. A whole boot for 1,300. It's a lot of money for a boot, yes. And I feel like it's on the low end for high-end designers boot. Also in good black news this week, Asia Wilson has a Nike deal. She's been walking around in a shirt that says, "Of course I have a shoe." And I was like, sis, don't say of course. We weren't sure. We advocated for your shoe. Nike announced that Caitlin Clark had a deal that she was getting a shoe, and she hadn't even played one game in the WNBA. And we talked about it on here. I was like, well, what about Asia Wilson? She's touted as one of the best players in the WNBA, if not the best, and she didn't have a shoe. Well, Nike recently announced that yes, actually, she does have a shoe, and it will arrive in 2025. It's been made to sound like this was something that was in the works before Caitlin Clark. Perhaps it was. Asia says, from my logo to the look of the shoe and the pieces throughout the collection, we've worked to make sure every detail is perfectly tuned to my game and style. She says she's been working with Nike for over a year, so pre Caitlin Clark, at least Caitlin Clark's shoe deal. But she says, I've been working with Nike for over a year to develop the signature collection. ESPN notes that Asia Wilson will be the 13th WNBA athlete to have a signature shoe. Maybe it was before Caitlin. I hope that it was. And just for whatever reason, they decided not to announce it. I don't know why they would wait until now. It's not like the shoe is coming out now. The shoe doesn't come out until 2025. But I guess they feel like they had to say something. I guess if the deal actually has been around for a while, Nike felt like they had to say something now because people were crying like, that's racist about Caitlin Clark getting a shoe before Asia Wilson. I was like, when y'all signed Asia Wilson to get her own shoe, why didn't y'all say something then? It's not like she just became popular now. Like, I was like, why didn't y'all say something before? Like, why did y'all wait till now? Was it not worthy of an announcement before? Let me stop. I'm glad she has the shoe. And now I got to go put my money where my mouth is because I done complained about the woman not having a shoe. Now when the lady's shoe come out, we got to go support and buy the shoe. Or buy a legging, buy a sports bra, buy something, but something from her line to support. We can't bitch about her not getting it, and then it finally comes out and we don't buy nothing. Because then it's going to be like, see, that's why we don't sign y'all. If we can make a fuss about Mary J. Blige and her $1,300 over the boot shoe before tax, we might need to find a little extra coin. I'm glad she got her shoe. Shout out to Kendrick Lamar, who and I think most reasonable people think won his battle with Drake. I read that the song Not Like Us, apparently it has the whole West Coast of America in a chokehold. I read that song, the diss record, has gone gold. It sold over 500,000 units in the US. It's the fastest song to do so in 2024, surpassing Taylor Swift's Fortnite. Good Lord. I keep seeing videos of people in the West Coast at the club losing their mind. And I was like, y'all know that's a song calling out a man for pedophilia. Y'all are getting y'all whole life. I mean, whole life. Like the club is going up like it's a Tuesday to a song accusing a man of pedophilia. Okay, America. Okay. What's going on? Well, Auntie Anita Baker, she had a show in Atlanta. Was it Atlanta? Yes. I was like, you one of the blackest women singing in one of the blackest cities in the US on like a black woman's holy day. And you cancel your show last minute. It's not just she canceled the show. People had already left for the arena and parked their cars and were waiting outside to get in when they got notifications that the event had been canceled. Now, I don't keep up with Anita Baker's tour. I remember she was going back and forth with Babyface, calling him a support act. I remember we talked about that on the show. I haven't been keeping up with the ongoings of Anita Baker on tour. So once she canceled this show, people started speaking out and they said that she'd canceled other shows on the tour. I believe I read something Valentine's Day weekend. She canceled a show. I was like, ma'am, you sing love songs. You can't be out here canceling Valentine's Day shows. But apparently she did. So far, there hasn't been a reason given for why she canceled the show. A lot of the attendees, this was their Mother's Day gift, and she didn't show up. So far, and I Googled right before I started recording, there's been no update on what happened. Not even just a personal apology from the official Instagram account saying we're sorry for the cancellation, we'll make it up to you on a different date. No spokesperson even saying Miss Baker had a family emergency or a health crisis or anything like that. Nothing official. I saw Carl Thomas of all people had released the statement, and I was like, was he on the tour? Was he the babyface replacement? Like, is Carl Thomas like her new support act? Carl Thomas put out a statement that was very cryptic and very kind of like, who told you to say this? Like, is this your place? Let me see if I can pull it up. Because I saw it on a friend's page and I was like, sir, was this your business to tell? It was a whole bunch of like, I ain't saying anything, but I'm saying something. I'm saying just enough. This was Carl Thomas's statement. I'm reading this on L. Michael Gibson. He's a friend of the pod. This is what Carl Thomas posted. He said, while I'm not at liberty to discuss someone else's business, then sir, why are you tweeting? Why are you tweeting? I'm not at liberty to discuss someone else's business. Please pray for Anita Baker. I promise there's more to this than you realize. Sir, are you the official spokesperson? And if you are not, why are you speaking? Why are you speaking? I find it odd that there's no official statement from Anita Baker or from someone representing Anita Baker. It does lead me to believe that something might be not so good behind the scenes, something big. So I'm going to just go ahead and pray. I have seen people talking about they've been to Anita Baker's shows recently and she was walking with a limp. Some people have described some of her behavior on stage as a little erratic. I hope everything's okay. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. We all carry around different stressors, big and small. When we keep them bottled up, it can start to affect us negatively. Therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and to figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. You're a listener of this show, so you know I am a huge advocate for therapy. I think everyone should have some, especially the people that think they don't need it. You probably need it the most. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I love how easy BetterHelp makes it to access professional help. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/ratchet today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/ratchet. Last but not least, Christian Combs. I don't know what possessed him to do this. Christian Combs, King Combs, Diddy's child, the one that looks exactly like Diddy, he released a diss track against 50 Cent. I was like, why does everybody want to beef all of a sudden? Now, in fairness, because I didn't know the source of Game and Rick Ross's beef, I'm not really all that sure what set off. I'm not really sure what set off Drake and Kendrick Lamar either. Apparently, they haven't liked each other, or at least Kendrick has not liked Drake for a very long time. Like, what exactly is the problem? Tupac and Biggie, when they were beefing, Tupac believed that Biggie had set him up to be robbed and murdered, but he got shot 5 times and survived instead. So Tupac went at Biggie with a vengeance because he believed Biggie tried to have him murdered. That's a legitimate reason to beef with somebody. I don't know what the actual source is of Kendrick Lamar and Drake. Even like Chris Brown and Quavo, like that was over. They used to be friends, and then Quavo started dating Carucci, and Chris has felt the way about it all these years. Like that's a legitimate beef to me. Chris feels like his friend betrayed him. Based on man code, it is a betrayal. But like, okay, I understand the source of that beef. I'm not really sure exactly what set off from long ago, what set off this Drake and Kendrick beef. Because at one point they were cool, and then they stopped being cool, and then Kendrick has been doing subliminals for years. I don't know. The thing that flared it up this time is a J. Cole verse where he declared basically that him, Drake, and Kendrick were the big three. J. Cole was declaring that he, Drake, and Kendrick were like the Jay-Z, Biggie, and Nas of their generation. And then Kendrick responded, he was like, ain't no big three, it's just big me. That just sounds to me like some just talk your shit rapper-ish. And that was the one that Drake decided to actually respond to with 2 diss tracks. And then, things fell apart. Kendrick is accused of beating his fiance. Drake is accused of hiding yet another child. And more importantly, being a pedophile, a minor that lives rent free in my head. That's not the point. The point is 50 Cent really doesn't like Diddy and has been making jokes nonstop about Diddy for years. The source of their beef may be 50 has been telling this story for a really long time about like when he first got on, Diddy offered to take him shopping. And 50's thing is, that's like the ways you seduce women. Like, oh, let me take you on a shopping spree. He's like, why a grown ass man offering to take me on a shopping spree? Like, you ain't fucking me. Like, why are you offering to spend your money on me? Very offensive to 50 Cent. I think that's the source of their beef. For years now, 50 has gone very, very hard at Diddy. Diddy, we've talked about many, if not all of his known legal woes on here. 50 has continuously clowned Diddy, and Christian Combs just decided, like, I've had enough. I've had enough of you, like, going at my daddy. And so he made a diss track towards 50 Cent. It is kind of horrible. Christian Combs, it's called Pick a Side, which I just learned from Forbes magazine. Oh, God. I'm like, why would you try 50? But anytime anyone refers to Diddy, all the comments are, Diddy do it? All of that comes from 50 Cent. I mean, he's a public menace. 50 responded. So far, he's taking it easy on a young man. That's not going to continue. We talked about Usher is a menace, but we say it kind of playfully, like, oh, Usher's a menace. He's such a menace. He's causing all this trouble, all this commotion. No, 50 is a real life menace. 50 responded to Christian Combs. He wrote, quote, I feel so threatened by the things Christian is saying on his record. I'm afraid for my life. Please don't hurt me, guys. Then he adds, I never mentioned or posted anything about Puffy's kids because Keith D said he killed Tupac. Oh, God. Oh, God. We're back with the Diddy killed Tupac accusations. Oh, no. 50 Cent, because he was never going to stop there. That was never the plan. 50 Cent also responded, I think it was a photo. His father has been sued for assaulting a bunch of women. He has been sued as well. It was a young woman who was working on a yacht. She said he tried to sexually assault her. I want to say in like the onboard theater or onboard studio. We read her lawsuit when it came out. 50 posted pictures of the victim's injuries. And then the caption read, damn, King Combs, is that what you told Grace on that boat, huh? Gave her the puppy juice with that special sauce in it. LOL, boy, oh boy, bad boy for life. Oh dear. Christian, it makes me wonder if his father actually heard the song before he put it out. He references the feds raiding his father's homes. He says our cribs. I was like, sir, you live there. That's not, is your name on it? Is that your house? That's your daddy's house. There's a distinction. But he says, knock them walls down like when them Fetty boys ran in both our cribs. Too bad they ain't know we about to run next door because that's the one they missed. He implies that there's another house on Star Island that his father owns that the feds didn't know about. And I was like, young man, nephew. Actually, I don't want to claim him because he got rape accusations. I'm good. Somebody's nephew. Why would you put this in a song, sir? Why would you tell the feds and because all these people are suing your father about additional assets that they probably didn't know about? Did your daddy hear this before you put it out? 50 responded, now why would you say some shit like this? Facepalm emoji. When you know the feds are investigating, is you stupid or is you dumb? Isn't that what Remy said to Nikki? Oh dear. I think Christian's heart was in the right place. He wanted, be a man. He want to stand up to your family. Sir, your father's not even standing up for himself. Your father is silent about 50 for a reason. He got enough sense not to go back and forth with him. 50 has no bottom. He's another Chris Brown with better controlled rage. Also, 50 trolls his own damn kids. You think he's going to do any better by you than he does by his own blood? The child that he cloned that shares his entire face, he is publicly going after. Is that really who you want to fuck with? I was like, you ain't think that one through, young man. Oh, well. Gotta learn. Gotta learn. Isn't that sad? Because 50 is a grown ass man. I really should be looking at the grown ass man and be like, hey, 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 that's a child. What are you doing? Are you going back and forth with the child? It's not like he's 19 a child. He's like 26, 27 a child. Even if he was like 21, 22, I'd be like, come on, 50, come on. Come on. This is so much drama. My God. All right. That's the episode for this week. It's not everything, but it's the shit that I actually care about. I have Justin Timberlake listed on here. Apparently his album went wood. I was like, was it really that bad? Because I love the single. I just refused to talk about it because I didn't want to like celebrate Justin Timberlake in any kind of way. Selfish. I love the single. After I saw the sales for the album, I went and actually listened to the whole album when I was on the treadmill, and I was like, ooh, no, this was a bad album. All right. That's the episode. It's still not everything, but it's what we got. And we'll be back on Friday. All right.